You don't start as a criminal. You start as precise. Your hands don't shake. Not during residency. Not during your first solo surgery. Not even when a monitor flatlines for half a second longer than it should. They call you gifted. You call it control. Every incision you make is deliberate, clean, efficient, minimal trauma, maximum outcome. You learn quickly, but surgery isn't about saving lives. It's about managing damage, and sometimes deciding what damage is acceptable. You work long nights, graveyard shifts, understaffed, overloaded. You notice patterns others ignore, patients who won't be missed immediately, paperwork delays, system gaps. You don't act on it, not yet, but you notice. It starts small, a transplant case gone wrong. Not your fault, timing issue, logistics failure. The organ is still viable. Protocol says to discard it. You hesitate. You know what the organ is worth, not just in money, but in utility, in demand. You've seen the waiting lists. You've seen people die waiting. You also know there are people who don't wait. A message appears weeks later, encrypted, anonymous. Access confirmed, you understand supply. No greeting, no explanation, just a number, a price per organ, higher than your annual salary. You ignore it for 3 days. Then you reply. You don't see yourself as a criminal. You see inefficiency. Hospitals waste viable organs every day due to bureaucracy, timing, and legal constraints. You're just reallocating. You tell yourself, someone is getting a second chance. Someone is paying for speed. You're simply bridging the gap. The first time is controlled, a donor case, already declared, already processed. You divert one organ, just one. You adjust the logs, delay a timestamp, reroute a label. No alarms, no questions. Payment arrives instantly, cryptocurrency, clean, untraceable. More money than you'd ever seen in one transaction. You don't celebrate, you just sit there, realizing how easy it was. It never stays at one. Demand grows, the messages become more specific. Need liver, under 40, no alcohol history. Kidney, type O, urgent. They know your access, they know your precision. You begin selecting cases, not randomly, strategically. Patients with complications, low survival probability, complex histories. You justify it, they were never going to make it, but now you're deciding that before the system does. Your workflow changes. You operate as expected, but you also extract. A second procedure layered beneath the first, invisible to everyone in the room. You control the tempo, you control the narrative, you control the outcome. You're no longer dealing with one buyer. It's a marketplace, encrypted portals, bidding systems, reputation scores. You have a username now. You don't remember choosing it, but it's no, highly rated, consistent quality, fast delivery, minimal trace risk. You begin to understand your clients. They're not all criminals. Some are wealthy, desperate, dying. Others are brokers, middlemen, and some are far worse than you. You stop thinking about the recipients. You focus on the process. Because thinking about who receives the organ means thinking about who didn't. Up until now, every donor had a justification, a reason, a margin of plausibility. Then comes the request, heart, immediate, premium price. You stare at it. Hearts aren't surplus. They're final. You don't divert a heart. You take it. You don't respond. Hours pass. Then another message. Patient already prepped. Delayed not acceptable. And then price doubled. You feel something unfamiliar. Not fear, not guilt, pressure. You review your patient list. There's one. Young, stable, recoverable, scheduled for a routine procedure. Don't live unless something changes. You close the file. You reopen it. You calculate time, risk, visibility. You know exactly how it would work because you spent your entire career learning how not to do it. The operating room feels the same. Same lights, same sounds, same team. Nothing looks different. Only you know it is. You begin the procedure. Everything is textbook until it isn't. A small deviation, a controlled complication, Something explainable but irreversible. Monitors shift, tensions rise. You take control, you always do, and then you make a choice. Not as a surgeon, as something else. The extraction is perfect, cleaner than any legitimate transplant you've ever done, because this time there are no rules slowing you down. The room changes, energy shifts, people ask questions, you answer them. Calmed, measured, authoritative. No one challenges you, they never do. The report is written, complication, unavoidable, best efforts, case closed. Payment arrives before you even leave the hospital. More than before, enough to stop, enough to never do this again. But you don't stop. You stop seeing patients as people. You see variables, age, health, compatibility, value. You begin pre-screening mentally, running calculations before diagnosis. Your life outside the hospital improves. New apartment, better clothes, financial freedom. No visible change in behavior. That's the key. You become two people, the surgeon everyone trusts and the operator no one sees. Sleep becomes optional, not because you're busy, but because your mind doesn't slow down anymore. It just optimizes. Small things begin to surface. Audit requests, inventory discrepancies, questions about timing. Nothing direct, but enough to notice. Someone is looking, not at you, but near you. You tighten your process. Fewer risks, cleaner operations. You reduce frequency. You increase price. The market reacts. Your reputation grows. Scarcity leads to increased prices. And then you see a message you've never seen before. Internal review initiated. You've been flagged. You don't panic. Panic is inefficient. You analyze. Who knows what? What can be proven? Wherever the weak points. You consider stopping, but stopping creates patterns and stopping gets noticed. Instead, you plan one final operation. Clean, controlled, untraceable, and then you disappear. The request comes in. High value, high urgency, too perfect. You hesitate for the first time in a long time, not because of the act, but because of the timing. You look deeper, metadata, routing, timing. Something is off. This isn't a normal buyer. It's structured, too structured. You realize this isn't a request. It's a test. They're not buying an organ. They're buying proof of a crime. You'd have options. Proceed and risk exposure. Decline and confirm suspicion. Disappear and abandon everything. You spent your life making precise decisions under pressure. This time is no different, except this time you're the patient and the system is deciding what to do with you. You enter the operating room. Everything is ready. The team is aware, as always. You begin, but this time you don't deviate. You follow protocol exactly. No extraction, no hidden procedure, nothing. You complete the surgery clean, perfect outcome. Then you log out of everything. Accounts, access points, channels, all gone. Weeks pass. No messages, no payment, no consequences. The order concludes. No findings, no action. You return to normal operations, respected, trusted, and untouched. But something is different. You still see it. Every patient, every case, every opportunity. You know how easy it is, how invisible it can be, how profitable. And now you also know how close you came to being core. You wash your hands. Same routine, same precision. But this time, you notice something you hadn't before. They're not clean, not really, and they never will be again.